The story begins on a beautiful sunny day, a clear scene. A voice calls out, "What about these sets? Or is this set prettier? What about this one? I'm tired. To me, they all look the same. Why don't you just pick one randomly?" He frowned. "Don't be like that. Take a closer look. They think she only has a few shabby clothes. They all look the same." Riola kept repeating, making him annoyed. "I don't know either. Oh my god," Han asked. "What are you wondering about? Why are you in here?" He was helpless. "Ha, don't make me say it." Han was still curious. "I'm wondering why you're getting angry." "Not like you at all," Riola smiled kindly. "You must be worried too, right, Han?" He shouted loudly. "What do you gain by impressing the customers, huh?" Riola laughed loudly. "I'm not doing this to impress the customers," she said shyly. "You think I'm trying to impress Fabian? I've been in this forest so long, I'm fed up. The damp earth, the strong smell, and the flickering fire from the small campfire warming our shabby tent since Han took me in. I was fed up with life in the camp with all the chores. But now, those old sorrows make my heart ache. Maybe because today is the last day I stay here." Fabian said to Riola, "I swear I will make you happy once we leave this place and earn enough money. I will marry you." Today is the day Fabian keeps his promise to me. Someone shouted loudly, "Captain, the customer's carriage is coming." Or shouted, "He's here, get to your positions immediately." He turned to her, "Why are you still standing there daydreaming?" "Good, everyone listen up. Get to your positions." Riola happily said, "Fabian, you finally arrived." Han reminded, "Remember, no disrespectful actions. Be alert and serve with all manners." Whether you like it or not, everyone nodded in agreement. Riola wondered, but what kind of customer is so important that we have to keep such manners? Does that person pay a lot? Surely Fabian has achieved some miracle. A loud voice said, "Everyone, pay attention." Riola happily said, "Fabian." Fabian stepped down wearing white shoes. It was Greta. She said, "Thank you all for the warm welcome." Riola was stunned. "Wow." Greta said, "Han is the only familiar face, right? Very pleased to meet everyone." "You all must have worked very hard." Han replied, "Oh no, it's truly an honor that you personally came here." Princess Greta glanced over. "You must be Riola, right?" Riola thought. "Is our customer a woman who looks like a princess from a fairy tale?" Greta continued, "I am Princess Greta." She replied, "Yes, very honored to meet you." Now Greta praised, "I've heard a lot about you from Fabian and really wanted to meet you. He said they were close friends. Fabian's friend is also my friend. Feel free." "Yes." Riola hesitated. "Ah, close friend?" Greta said goodbye. "See you at dinner." Riola hesitated. "Yes, Your Highness." "The princess and Fabian are so close?" A shout echoed. Riola panicked. "No way. Can I greet the princess looking like this?" Even though she tried to dress neatly. "But how can I compare to her? I wonder if Fabian compares me to the princess." She suddenly turned her head. Fabian hesitated. Riola, so glad. Why did you come back? I thought you went to escort the princess." Fabian stammered, "Ah, I forgot this." Riola was so happy she couldn't believe it. Fabian was confused. "Riola, let me explain about being summoned by the royal family. Why didn't you tell me about such an important matter?" Fabian laughed. "Ah ha ha, sorry. But to make it up to you, consider this a bribe." Riola wondered, "This is a Vivian Rose? You were late because you went looking for this?" Fabian kissed her cheek. "I promised to find it for you, remember? I had to search all the flower shops in the city." She shyly accepted. "You're exaggerating again. But I was so happy I felt silly for worrying about the princess." Fabian spoke up. "All right, we have to go now. Dinner time is near." Riola smiled brightly. After all, Fabian is her lover. Everyone was drinking and chatting lively. "Have you decided what to do after this?" Han scratched his head, laughing. "We're still considering, Your Highness, because this is the first time we've been paid so well." The two drunk guys bantered. "We've never had this much money, so we don't know how to spend it all. Anyway, we're definitely going to quit this miserable mercenary job. It's all thanks to Your Highness." Now Greta suggests, "Why don't we all take this opportunity to move into the palace? If you want, I can arrange for you to become royal guards." Those guys are amazed, really? Greta does not refuse, of course. After all, you have helped the royal family a lot. Meanwhile, Riola is thoughtful. "Fabian hasn't told everyone yet that we plan to get married, right?" Greta curiously asks. "What about you, Riola? Don't you like this proposal?" Riola speaks up to clear the misunderstanding, apologizing. "That's not true. I'm truly sorry, Your Highness. The castle sounds wonderful, but actually, I already have other plans." Greta laughs. "Really? What plans?" Riola stammers as everyone looks at her. She thinks about what to say. "I haven't even told the team about my plans with Fabian yet." Ahem. Fabian coughs to remind Riola as if understanding her. "Oh, maybe I still have to keep this a secret, right?" Greta teases. "Ah, sorry. I didn't mean to embarrass you. Then I should think of another reward for you." Riola politely declines. "Oh no, I have already received too much, Your Highness." Greta smiles. "I want to do this for you because I truly appreciate you, Riola." She wonders, "Sorry, but I didn't do anything." "Oh," Greta suddenly stands up. "Oh, please excuse me for a moment." Riola nods. "Ah, of course." Greta sends her regards to everyone. "Please stay and enjoy your evening," everyone shouts loudly. "Yes, thank you." The full moon rises high. Everyone is so drunk they fall asleep. Riola's voice rings out. "I was really nervous earlier." She is curious, by the way. Why haven't Fabian and the princess returned yet? They have been gone quite a while. They will probably come back soon. But why is the princess grateful to me? They seem very close. Could it be impossible? But she bangs the table and stands up. It's better if I go find them. Strange. The carriage is still here. This path leads to a commercial area. A Vivian Rose? Why is it here? Fabian. She is shocked. The scene before them. Greta and Fabian are kissing passionately. They look very affectionate. Riola exclaims, Fabian, you can't believe it. Fabian is surprised. Riola. Greta touches and suddenly hugs Fabian tightly. She is stunned. Greta's voice sounds, then I'll leave you two alone for a bit. They look at each other. Riola's past floods back when they were kids. Fabian complimented Riola. What a beautiful name. She recalls, I liked how Fabian called my name when I was 6. I love the way he said my name. Back to the present, Fabian speaks to explain, Riola, you are the most important person in the world to me. You know that, right? But the princess said she loves you. She is shocked, and he feels the same. You two will enter the palace together. Riola is angry. Don't chase him like that. He will enter the palace with the princess? How can that be? What about me? He told me that after this mission, we would be together forever. And he promised. But Fabian, some people are running toward them. Riola and Fabian are noisy. What's going on? Riola is surprised. Han Fabian says he will marry the princess and live in the palace. What should I do? Han sighs, oh my god, you scared me. Why don't you let go? Crying won't change anything. Others agree. That's right. His family has found a way to succeed. You should support him instead of crying. She pauses. What do you mean? Are you saying it's my fault? Han is tired. So who do you think is at fault? What else do you want Fabian to do? The princess likes him. Who do you think you are to block the way? I mean, you two are not officially married. And don't have any children, right? A young couple can break up any time, can't they? Riola speaks. So everyone already knows everything? I understand now. This is why no one teases me about Fabian anymore and why he always changes the subject whenever I appear. Even the princess's compensation is because she is attracted to Fabian. That's also why she offered to pay me. Fabian tries to hold Riola back. Please don't go. Listen to what I have to say. Why? Can you just leave me like this? Riola sadly replies, you are the one who left me, so why do you act like I am the one who abandoned you? Riola decisively leaves. Han worries, where are you going? You have nowhere else to go. You will come back soon, won't you? Riola, the deep sea, don't drink alcohol, and don't interfere with the campaign. A lord fleeing responsibility is truly pitiful. Hohan sat there watching Riola standing in front of the sea waves, and the woman he had been following all this time was there too. Riola, with tears streaming down, suddenly Hohan panicked as Riola jumped into the sea. Did she really jump in? Everyone shouted loudly. Someone fell into the water. The sea waves stirred. Hohan looked down. She was crying. This is not my business. I shouldn't interfere, but I understand too well that no one has tears left to cry for this life. Her tears hadn't fallen yet, and she truly wanted to die. Suddenly, a hand reached out. Hohan hugged her, saying, only I surrender to this cruel fate, so you must live. After struggling in the river, colder than ice, Hohan finally managed to bring Riola ashore. He carried her up and laid her down. She was still breathing. Does anyone nearby have a blanket? The crowd, seeing what happened, immediately surrounded the two. They whispered and debated, but no one helped the hand that had just rescued someone from the cold river. The nosy ones were there again, but when trouble came, they didn't help, making Hohan's face darken, and his lips started twitching. No one here knew what to say, or were they all deaf? At this moment, the nosy crowd stammered and opened their mouths. We've never seen her before. He had no other choice but to ask, does anyone know this girl? Then someone emerged from the crowd, probably because there were too many people, and just arrived. He shouted loudly, that's my sister! Seeing someone claim her, Hohan hurriedly handed Riola over, but the strange, cheerful tone of that guy made him still a bit suspicious. I'm so worried to death. Thank you for saving her. When Riola was completely in the hands of that slippery guy, Hohan hesitated a bit. That slippery guy, seeing the opportunity, smiled secretly, thinking today was his lucky day. Should he sell her to the brothel, or try her first and then sell? Unexpectedly, he got such a good catch without spending a dime. Hohan sensed something strange and kept staring at him. His heroic spirit suddenly surged. He said, wait, think again, then put her down. The slippery guy, hearing this, was scared, stiff. He hugged Riola tightly and stammered, Huh? Why all of a sudden? I already thanked you. You should leave now. Hohan didn't bother to say more and bluntly revealed his hand. I know you're not her family. Put her down. The other guy was startled and his face turned pale. Yet he still stubbornly argued, I'm her brother. So Hohan patiently asked again, what's your name? But his face clearly showed he thought Hohan was stupid. Hearing this, the slippery guy began to act tough. Don't think I don't know. Her name is Marie. So Hohan let go of the bait, strangely enough. Because before fainting, she said her name was Rose, but the slippery guy suddenly got nervous and corrected himself. Rose is her real name. Maria is her nickname. At this point, Hohan felt this game wasn't enough, so he continued to lure him. Wait, she said Rose, right? Then the guy agreed. Actually, it's a middle name. Hohan added one more sentence. On second thought, it seems like a middle name. The guy got annoyed and shouted, what? The slippery guy, angry, frowned and sulked. Are you kidding me? Meanwhile, the gossipers watching the show started to discuss whether he was really her brother. The whispering continued behind the guy. How can we believe it? Maybe it's a kidnapping. I heard kidnappers get a decent reward these days. This made him even more insecure. Just as the slippery guy cursed the noisy crowd, he was suddenly silenced by Hohan using a romantic threat move. He pressed his face close to his opponent's. Got it? I think the real high-class person here is you, not her. Or should I throw you to the dogs? Not sure if he was disgusted or scared, but he quickly pushed Hohan away after just a few seconds. So Hohan hugged the beautiful red-haired girl again, in that beautiful, cute, and conscious moment. He sighed looking at the girl he saved. Isan would go crazy if he knew about this. Oh my god, but it's already dark. Running back now, Riola would freeze to death. Hohan had no choice but to stop by a nearby inn and walked in confidently. At the reception desk, he threw a bag of money onto the table with a loud thud, startling the owner, but Hohan didn't care. Oh my god, but it's already dark. If I run back, Riola will probably freeze to death, Hohan. There's no other way. I have to stop by a nearby inn. He walked proudly. At the reception desk, he threw a bag of money on the table with a bang, startling the owner, but Hohan didn't care. He said straight away, "Get me another set of clothes, and don't take any more guests in this area." The innkeeper was stunned and said, "Who are you to give me orders?" But then he grabbed the money bag and opened it, shocked again. How much money is in here? Having money really means disturbing others, but the owner hurried to take care of the wealthy guest. Wait, how do you want the clothes? Hohan confidently opened the room door. When you're done, just leave them right outside. The landlord stood outside anxiously. Yes, sir. Hohan carried Riola into the room, still holding her hand tightly. But in his mind, the question kept echoing. What did I just do? He gently placed the girl on the bed. Long was still blaming himself. Leaving the camp was bad enough, but now he brought a strange girl to the inn. If Isan knew, he would be shocked. Even now, he kept thinking about Isan, staring at Riola's face. Instead of seeing a beautiful neck, he saw a pitiful one and sighed. But looking closely again, her face looked like someone easily ogled by perverts. Maybe that's why she jumped into the water. Setting those questions aside for now. First, she needed to change clothes to avoid catching a cold. Cold thoughts still lingered in his mind. Well, it's not my business now. But as he took off his cloak, she grabbed him weakly. Riola spoke each word, "Don't go," though her mouth said unrelated things. But she woke up and quickly asked, "You're awake?" Then lowered her arm for him to hold. "No need to pretend, just think more," she murmured. "Don't leave me behind. Don't go," making Hohan's heart suddenly jump. She sighed and whined, "I'm scared." Scared to be alone. Hohan's hands suddenly trembled, sweat pouring like a waterfall. What's this? Suddenly a headache hit hard. Dizziness overwhelmed him, and his body lost control, falling down. Luckily, he grabbed the bed railing just in time. Still, the situation was quite romantic. Hohan's eyes widened. His breath became rapid and heavy. Riola could open her eyes but was still dazed. Her lips mumbled, "Don't go." The scene was chaotic. Riola lay below, lying on the bed with a flushed face from lack of breath and fever, while Hohan was panting from the headache, but it looked like they had just kissed sweetly. Yet Riola called Fabian's name. It ruined Hohan's mood. Although she called someone else, his heart still pounded with every word she said. "Don't go, Fabian." Following her call, Hohan's memories began to flood back. The image of a brown-haired man, relaxed and gentle, as if congratulating. Looks like no worries about food this year. Another image appeared. Well-dressed, stylish people acting strangely, walking down the street when suddenly it rained, forcing them to stop. It's raining now. Hohan was shocked, eyes wide. What? Even at my worst headache, I've never had hallucinations like this. Looking at the girl lying still from exhaustion, he boldly guessed she caused this, grabbed her shoulder and shook her. "What the hell are you? A witch?" Her face was hazy, but Hohan persistently tried to wake her up. He suddenly froze, feeling her body cold, so reluctantly laid Riola down, sighed, then cursed. But despite cursing, he still covered her with a blanket. Hohan sat on a nearby wooden chair, suspicion suddenly arising. When did I become so soft-hearted? He looked at Riola curiously, at least sensing no murderous intent. Who exactly is she? After a tiring night, the final sunlight appeared. Riola had passed the fever. Her face looked much fresher, a warm scent. Her trembling hand suddenly felt an unfamiliar warmth. Who is this? That face made Riola remember someone. Fabian. She felt both warmth and heaviness. Suddenly realizing something was wrong, she quickly sat up. Clearly she had fallen into the water. But why still feel this warmth? Is this the afterlife? Suddenly feeling like her hand was holding something, she quickly looked around. Oh my, what afterlife is this? Such a handsome guy. She wanted to hold on, but seeing he was a stranger, Riola let go. Hohan still unaware, just resting her head on the bed, sleeping endlessly. She looked at him, startled, a question forming in her mind. She clearly remembered standing on the shore last night, then jumping straight into the water, because sadness and anger made her do something foolish, and this man pulled her out of that decision. She let go of the world but chose to hold his hand. Riola got off the bed and ran away. So instead of accepting fate, she decided to run away. Her eyebrows furrowed. How terrible. She had to leave before he woke up. She turned back with a regretful look. Should she thank him or apologize? Or blame him for pulling her back to this terrible reality? Then Riola still turned away. The truth was, she just wanted to run away from everything. She slammed the door shut, leaving Hohan alone in the room in a painful posture. The door slowly closed. The figure of the young man. Scene shifts to the southern valley of the Riola kingdom. Sunshine and greenery embraced the wooden house. The bakery owner shouted. But it didn't sound like a complaint at all. Riola, I told you to bring the bill out already. Hearing that, she hurried out. Bill, you already paid earlier, are you drunk? The young man kept saying. No, what are you saying? I haven't paid yet. Take my money, even though he kept hiccuping and sniffling. Riola laughed and posed. No, I can't take it. What if you come back tomorrow to ask for the money? The bakery owner, seeing that, patted her shoulder. She thought Bill wanted to tip you. Just accept it. Riola could only smile, but she did all the work. She felt guilty after the recent failed suicide attempt. A painful autumn and winter eventually passed. When spring came, the wounds that seemed never to heal softened a little. Riola now regained her spirit once again. She became a warm light for everyone, or rather, they no longer hurt her. She was really lucky. After running away and stopping in this village, suddenly the shop door was pushed open. The familiar bell rang again, but this time it brought an indescribable sense of unease. A group of armored men entered. She, Funny, quickly said hello. They stood in a line right in front of the door, looking terrifying. Seeing they were royal soldiers, she got nervous, stammering, welcome, sirs. I wonder what the royal knights are doing in such a small place, said one soldier with sharp eyes. He stopped, completely ignoring the previous words. Hey, her! Then they suddenly declared, Riola Granitor, according to kingdom law, you are under arrest. Hearing this, she froze, her face turned pale. She stammered, what? Why? They only coldly replied that until she was transferred to the Empire, she would be under the supervision of the royal guards of the Riola kingdom. Funny saw this and immediately rushed to shield Riola. Why are you arresting Riola? For what reason? Listen, there must be some mistake, said Funny. The soldier didn't bother to hide it. She is accused of attempting to assassinate the Emperor of the Elsvik Empire. Or do you want to be arrested as an accomplice? Riola's face darkened, but she couldn't believe her ears. Attempted assassination of the Emperor? Fabian's image appeared in her mind. Fabian once gently called her name, Riola. The faces of two close friends also appeared, making her very anxious. Hankari, what should I do? She recalled when Han once stopped her. Where are you going? There was nowhere else to go. Would she return? Riola's face darkened more and more. She began to regret her decision. She should have returned to the soldiers that day to save her. Besides being lost in thought, Riola didn't know what to do. Maybe they would protect her if she did that, if she returned. She wouldn't have made these people suffer because of her, while those in the shop, especially Funny, were still trying to protect her. After a while, the tavern returned to normal. Riola was truly arrested. She thought the nightmare was over, but it turned out it was just beginning. The soldiers opened the door, saying, It's cold here, but bear with it for a few days. You'll get used to it. Then they threw her inside. Riola sat up. Get used to it? She stared into the distance. She didn't understand why she still held on to a vain hope. Could Fabian be on his way to rescue her? Did he mean, don't worry, I'll get you out soon? Fabian, please come save me. Outside was a sunny, warm space, just like the hope Riola always kept in her heart. But when she hoped someone would come to save her, inside, her situation was extremely bleak. Because before fainting in that cold, dark dungeon, she heard that all those falsely accused had already received their reward and retreated. No matter how bright and beautiful the outside was, there was no miracle for her. Only an unquenchable yearning remained until the very end. Boom boom, fireworks bloomed outside. The solemn yet lively sound of trumpets and drums echoed as Hohan, dressed in royal attire, appeared. Riding a white horse, the Emperor of the Elchuvach Empire arrived and stood waiting inside alongside the king of the Riola kingdom, and his daughter, Princess Greta, who whispered to her father, Don't worry, your majesty. We have no reason to be afraid, the king of Riola said outwardly. Ah, cowardly, of course. But inwardly, he was restless, looking at his daughter and thinking, That's right, today, everything will surely go according to plan. Hohan passed through the crowd of shouting citizens. Wow, the new king of the Elstrove Empire, Greta thought to herself. I will personally ensure that. Hohan was truly the emperor, type both handsome and authoritative. As he dismounted, the father and son quickly approached. We sincerely welcome you to our country. Before finishing, he was cut off by Hohan. Thank you for your warm reception. The king of Riola quickly recovered. Ah, you must be tired after the long journey. He rubbed his neck and sighed. That must be why my ears hurt a bit. The king was startled, then realized Hohan was mocking him. The kingdom's band hurriedly turned back. Hey, silence now! The space suddenly fell silent. Seeing this, Greta could only smile awkwardly and quickly say a few words. Your Majesty, would you like to tour the kingdom with us? After resting, we will hold a grand banquet. Hohan had just ascended the throne and was already acting arrogantly. Ignoring the princess, he cut her off. I want to see what you intend to hand over to me. The king asked again to follow protocol. You mean the prisoner now? He confirmed, yes. The king, confused, asked, You mean here? Hohan showed obvious irritation, refusing to answer and turning away. The old king was startled by this. Luckily, Greta quickly bowed. "As you wish, your majesty." Meanwhile, the old king whispered, "Greta, are you sure? The execution ground is far away. I think he intends to execute her right here with the sword." But she was very satisfied. Well, that's even better. Thus, Riola was escorted by the guards. Greta's satisfied tone in front of everyone would reinforce the kingdom's legal authority. "So, consider carefully, father. The faster we handle this, the better for us." The soldiers threw Riola to the ground with a thud. "This is a prisoner. No need to be polite," the new Elstevik emperor said. "This woman has committed a crime against the noble bloodline of the Winsbach family." Hohan was known for brutality, so upon seeing the prisoner, he wanted to kill her immediately. Without hesitation, he drew his sword. Greta added, "Please handle her as you wish." The sword was drawn from its sheath. Greta's sinister smile could no longer be hidden. Finally, he looked at the prisoner before him. Her fiery red hair seemed both strange and familiar. Riola's tears began to fall heavily. This long nightmare was almost over. Hohan swung his arm to strike, but suddenly paused and ordered Riola to raise her head. Seeing she did not move, he lost patience and raised his voice. "Raise your head!" Those around, seeing her stubbornness, began to whisper. Does she dare disobey the emperor's order? She must really intend to assassinate him. Riola suddenly realized something. The crown prince had suddenly disappeared. Then, 10 years later, he returned and turned the world upside down. That was Hermann Linhart von Wiensbach. He was said to have smoothly ascended the throne of the Elchuvai Empire, but everyone knew that smoothness was soaked in blood. And what Riola did not expect was being pushed before this emperor like bait. Somehow, today would spill blood again. Just wait and see. Today, Hohan took a deep breath, sat down calmly, and ordered her, "Raise your face and look at me." He looked at her haggard face. Her once smooth red hair was now tangled, making him sigh at her gaunt figure. Then a bystander said, "She may be a criminal, but isn't your majesty going too far?" The king and princess of Riola nearly lost their hearts. The commoners trembled and murmured. He once personally exiled his own kin to the frontier, and now he worries about a criminal? They began to whisper, "Maybe she is too shameless. What is going on?" Greta probably found the scene a bit frightening, so she nudged the subordinate beside her and whispered an order. "The atmosphere is so strange. Quickly handle it. Anything done now is dangerous." So the subordinate dared to speak to Herhan. "Your Majesty, please allow me to report the internal investigation." He trembled, holding the documents in his hand, and read aloud about the corpse purchase incident that happened in the eastern region last autumn. It was caused by a single female prisoner, Riola Branitor, the mastermind, but Herhan had already seen that this information was fake. He raised his sword and slashed through the documents in the bold soldier's hand. The sword stopped right at his neck, frightening him. He could only make some choking sounds, speaking in a warning tone. "I am talking to a criminal." "You two are Riola Branitor," he said, but they neither confirmed nor dared to speak, standing there shaking their heads repeatedly, begging for forgiveness. Now Greta stood aside. Seeing Hohan hesitate for so long without beheading Riola, she also began to feel uneasy. Why would the emperor act like this? The criminal is right in front of him. Why not just punish her? This feeling is bad. Suddenly Riola lost balance and fell down, while Greta kept holding on to one thought. Could it be that his majesty already knows? Seeing Riola fall, the commoners began to panic again. "Oh, the criminal? How come she?" Fainted right at this moment. The soldiers also scrambled. "Do we need to carry her away?" After all, she is a criminal, and now Greta was so anxious that she bit her nails. Her eyebrows involuntarily furrowed tightly. Startled, "Surely it's over, right?" The emperor must have realized, but he can't do anything right now. There's no other choice, right? But such instincts are often wrong. "Ha ha ha, truly, your highness chose a different path, making Greta scared, so be it." She was resentful about what she didn't want to happen, then laughed, knelt down gently picking up the beautiful female prisoner, and he cared for her. Looking at the face lying completely in his arms, truly a beautiful girl, he just carried the beauty away. Under the puzzled gazes of everyone, the one suffering the most here could only be Eisen, who tried to speak in the most restrained tone possible. "The criminal should have been escorted back to the Empire. We are currently in a state of serious health deterioration." He read while raising his eyebrows. "It's really unfortunate that the Riola Kingdom ignored international law and caused the schedule to be delayed." At this point, he couldn't keep calm anymore. The paper in his hand was torn in half as he shouted angrily. "That's what I reported with an angry tone on His Majesty's behalf, but why did he act so rashly? Your Majesty threatening them is one thing, but you personally carrying the criminal who tried to assassinate you away?" Yet Herhan just silently stared. His anger was still not cooled down. He kept cursing loudly. "At least you should have informed me first." Despite him standing aside with folded arms calling Eisen's name, he kept cursing. "We had agreed on the plan. Carrot first, then stick. But I am your old friend. When I was captain of the guards, we went through life and death together." Hohan kept calling Eisen, and he kept ranting. "Do you really want me to lose all my hair?" Because you cursed so fiercely, he had no choice but to threaten to shut you up. "Say one more word and you'll really lose hair." Finally, Eisen shut up, but his aura was still very strong. "Ah, you sulky kid," pouting and not even looking at Herhan. so he had to gently remind him that the royal family was the desperate side wanting to handle this matter. Aizen retorted, all right, I understand. If that was your intention, then yes, they are really tangled up. He saw that Aizen seemed less angry. Then he dared to ask more. What about that girl? Aizen asked blankly. Which girl? He began reporting while Hohan seriously studied the person's background. She had been transferred to the medical room for treatment but remained unconscious. It was said she was starved in solitary confinement for nearly 10 days. Seeing Hohan read so carefully, he couldn't hide his curiosity and asked, have you finished reading? Just skimming through. There's a lot. Briefly, this was the report. The investigation was compiled by the royal family to accuse Riola Branitor. Every detail was accurate. As if perfectly copied, reading these documents felt like witnessing firsthand. It recounted everything she caused, and dozens of witness testimonies matched the records very well. But the story that she hired a group of mercenaries from the neighboring village to track and assassinate the crown prince, Hohan, it was completely fabricated. It didn't match any testimony. However, Aizen analyzed every piece of data in his mind, nodding because he felt the hypothesis that someone wanted to frame her was plausible. Riola was very reasonable at that time, unable to do anything because there was no evidence, and the Emperor was retreating, becoming weaker and weaker. He hurried back to the Empire, so the interrogation was postponed. We planned to handle the matter with the Riola Kingdom. After the domestic situation stabilized, I didn't expect them to dump everything on a girl named Aizen. After grasping the situation, they began scheming. Why don't you pretend to believe them for a while? She might not be the mastermind, but she's still a member of that mercenary group. People have goodwill, yet this Han guy bluntly concluded with one sentence. You don't know anything. Don't interfere. Making the young master startled. He retorted indignantly. I am the captain of the guards, busy to the point of barely eating or drinking by noon. Yet you tell me not to get involved? Han's words frustrated the young master so much, his face flushed red. This entire investigation is my responsibility. If not me, then who? The young master shouted indignantly, don't interfere. Suddenly, Hohan's gaze softened, making the young master's heart skip a beat. What's going on? It seems the gentle side of our lord is even more terrifying than when he wields a sword to behead others. He still smiled and said, you're right, Aizen, no one else but you did this, making the young master happy. Thought finally the lord would seriously reconsider her capabilities, and indeed he did. Finally, he understood how important I am, but who would have thought Hohan would conclude with such a sentence? Then here's a new mission for you. Go to Riola Benito immediately, shocking the young master. What? Aizen saw him play so harshly, and quickly found an excuse. But before I could pack, Hohan calmly replied, just sleep there. And the young master found another excuse. I hadn't eaten anything yet, but he brushed it off. Eat there then. Yet Aizen still wanted to resist. About to call his majesty, but was cut off. You understand, right? Go. So after all you can do is shout loudly, His Majesty, while Hohan's mission is chill. But on this side, Greta resembles an autonomous region just as much. She threw the glass on the ground, shattering it. What did you just say? The guard reported the situation. An Imperial investigator had set up a bed right on the floor of the medical room. She clenched her fists angrily. A bed on the floor? He insisted it was necessary. She couldn't be killed quietly anymore. Hearing that, she stiffened. What are you saying? She turned and shouted at the guard. Don't lie, as if I gave the order. You assassinate her? The guard was startled but still naively argued. But I was told to handle it smoothly. Unknown to anyone, Greta saw everything and urged him to retreat. The other quickly replied, understood. So the guard left, leaving her helpless and frustrated. What the heck is going on? Why is the Emperor protecting her? She was so anxious she bit her nails to pieces. Could it be he knows she's the mastermind? Impossible. All witnesses were eliminated and the report was flawless. Then why at this moment did Greta think of her lover? If Fabian were here, surely he would stop her from ruining her nails. Your Highness, you'll hurt yourself. Don't bite your beautiful hand like that, oh dear. Such intense feelings. Greta kept calling Fabian in her mind, but there was no springtime. If only Fabian were here. Thinking this, her body trembled with anxiety that hadn't eased at all. Her beautiful hand was bitten madly. I must do something before she wakes up. At all costs. Meanwhile, Aizen returned to meet Hohan after the mission and couldn't help but shout, it's useless. She said nothing. He slumped into a chair, probably needing time to make her speak. Why did she do that? The servant saw him ranting and quickly found a reason to reassure. After all, we are accusing her, so fear is understandable. We just need more time to persuade. Aizen was already annoyed, and hearing the excuse that it was because of him that she acted that way made him even more upset. Luckily, it's not that simple. You haven't seen it firsthand, so you don't understand, the servant said. But he began recounting in a very aggrieved tone. It's been 3 days since she woke up, so she should answer us. There's much to discuss with her. But all he got was her dazed silence. Today, Aizen worried she was still scared, so he spoke gently. Riola, but she stubbornly said nothing. He recounted. We tried to threaten her. Persuaded in every way, but she still ignored it. Hohan rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Strange indeed, Aizen. Seeing that he seemed to agree with him, he got excited, right? The execution day is coming, but acting like that, suddenly an idea flashed in his mind. Not sure if it was a bright idea or a dark one, but he was very confident that there was no way she would stay silent. After seeing my face, Eason was about to speak, so he listened and joined in. Exactly, I even mentioned you. Why did she come? When he realized it, he hurriedly stopped. Wait, could it be that you are thinking about her? Han confirmed, yes, that's right. Wow, these two are really in sync. You're not done being angry about this and then mad about that? What? You're starting to imagine nonsense about Han? Wow, the Emperor is really handsome. Do you think she will be happy and react like that? Getting mocked right in the face, yet he remained calm. Yeah, something like that, making Asian want to see stars. But why do you feel like this guy's ears are as thick as a buffalo's? Even more annoying, Your Majesty may be very handsome, but don't expect criminals to be attracted. You can't be that confident. I believe in you, but this case is just wrong, Han. Han completely ignored what he said, pushed him aside and walked away, just like that. And with the attitude of daring to say that in front of the Emperor? I am Azon, rich and dignified, angry enough to grit my teeth but only dared to wonder in my heart. What is this? Usually, Your Majesty doesn't behave like this. Could there be something between those two? I've been beside him 24/7. For 365 days. Here, from suspicion to other doubts, it's true that being next to this blonde guy, there's never an end to the story. Well, Your Majesty, may I ask? Why are you wearing the cloak used to go to the medical area? Hogan buttoned the cloak. You said earlier it was because you hadn't met her directly yet. He pulled the hood of the cloak up, smiled without smiling, but still lit up the whole room. Then now I will meet her directly. He carefully added one more sentence. If you don't want anyone to know the Emperor visits prisoners, then make sure no one follows me, making both the nobles and Asians stunned stiff. Both sighed deeply. Meanwhile, Han leisurely went to meet her fate. On the way, he accidentally overheard a few words, whispering from some servants in the castle, hoping she just froze, but sometimes she looked very scary. Another person also chimed in. I feel the same, looking like a soul leaving the body. The red-haired maid also joined the conversation. I also wonder what she will do after waking up. Who knew she just stared at the wall all morning without moving? Calling her didn't get a response. I heard she panicked and became mute because she was afraid of execution. But once awake, she will be dragged out for execution again. Hohan passed by them carefully holding his cloak tightly, but his ears were still very curious. The servants continued their conversation. As long as she leaves early, whatever. Both scary and troublesome. Not knowing that she herself had been judged by Han, the Imperial guards were also eavesdropping. It looked like a market, not a palace anymore. At the medical room, Riola still sat silently on the bed, even holding a glass of water indifferently. Hohan suddenly appeared and asked a question that made his liver burn. I heard she became mute, but she still didn't bother to pay attention. He crossed his arms and began to use a strategy to make her speak. I understand she has suffered many grievances, but not to the point of pretending not to know me like this. Riola's face was still pale like that, but at least she looked at him once, but her silence completely couldn't satisfy him. Ha ha ha. Silent for a moment, then called, Hey. He lifted her chin and pressed his face close to hers. Oh my god, so crazy. Haha. He lifted Riola's chin, forcing her to look into his eyes. He got closer to her and gently ran his finger over her lips, and he brought it to his lips as if tasting. Han's face darkened. They played dirty. The guard was scared and trembling. He thought to himself he must tell His Majesty to participate in royal events. Arrange this time, but with this tense atmosphere. How should I say it? Han's face was cold, with some tension clearly showing. Two guards standing nearby whispered, Did His Majesty have something happen after meeting the female prisoner? Eisen shook his head. How would I know? He went alone and has been like that since returning. Han's voice cut off the guards. They were startled. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. He ordered to arrange a dinner party with the king immediately. Also, invite the princess. The two others were surprised for a moment, but then obeyed the order. Yes. Yes, sir. I will relay the order immediately, the guard said while taking notes. The king will surely be very pleased. They have prepared everything on their side. We just need to arrive on time to give thanks to the heavens, Hohan replied. No, this party must be prepared by us. You continue. All dishes must use ingredients brought from the Empire. Let's go through the guards. It sounds unclear. Sorry, Your Highness, what did you say? He smirked. They have prepared to welcome us. At least we should invite them to a meal, right? The other bowed sincerely. Yes, then I asked permission to withdraw, Hohan. Before he even waited for him to leave, he moved on to the next matter. Eisen, come here. He hummed, asking about 7 years ago. Do you still remember the prisoners we captured in Hannes? Eisen answered calmly. Yes, of course. But after thinking it over, you realized a few things. They kept silent, waited for the poison to take effect, and finally committed suicide, right? Is that so? But why suddenly bring up that matter now? Could it be that it matches my thoughts? Huh. Han praised. Exactly. Her symptoms are very familiar, aren't they? Greta's father's voice echoed throughout the room. Ha ha ha. It is an honor for us. We did not expect His Majesty to personally invite us to dine. He could not hide his joy. Surely, I am the only king ever invited to such a magnificent event. Hohan laughed while cutting meat. Ha ha. I had to rest longer than expected, so I could only prepare this simple dinner for you all. Glad you are pleased, Greta's father replied cheerfully. Of course. We fully understand Your Majesty's situation. Meanwhile, Greta was annoyed, biting hard into the meat. Thoughts in her head had already exploded, realizing that on the first day he humiliated her, then never held any parties or meetings arranged by her family. Yet now he throws a banquet to entertain her. Why does her father smile and indulge him? He continuously inquired about the comfort of His Majesty's stay. He was satisfied, praising His Majesty's hospitality as excellent. Thanks to his care, I feel quite comfortable. He laughed heartily. Ha ha. I am very glad to hear that. Now Greta took a sip of wine, but still could not resolve her doubts. Tearing her mind apart, he had someone watch over her in the sick room, yet now acts as if he does not care at all? Could it be he gave up? An hour passed, and he only talked about trivial matters. These past days, Riola has not said a word. Surely he is discouraged, but in front of her, Hohan was still waving the knife over the food. That sounds reasonable. Suddenly, he looked straight at her. The unexpected gaze made her freeze. Afterwards, she choked on the wine. Hohan exclaimed, "Oh heavens, the princess must be very nervous." He instructed Bill standing nearby. "Bring tea for the princess, Rita." She hurriedly refused. "I'm fine." He reassured her, "Just try drinking it. This tea helps calm very well." The cup was placed in front of her. Then she was a bit cautious, thinking his behavior was strange, but still whispered, "Thanks." Greta raised the cup to taste. She immediately revived after the first sip. "Huh? What tea makes me calm so quickly?" Before she finished, her father praised, "Indeed a wonderful tea." Hohan invited him, "Would you like to drink some?" He naturally agreed. "Such good conditions, of course. I never expected to have the chance to drink this tea, personally brought by the Emperor," he recounted. "This tea was imported from one of the southern islands, not from our empire. Perhaps you have heard of it. It is brewed from a poisonous herb called clardy." Hearing this, Greta coughed violently. Her father immediately scolded. "Greta, have you forgotten your manners?" She stammered, I. Hogan silently guessed the reason for Greta's reaction. Being poisonous must have scared the princess. Just a small amount has a calming effect. No need to worry. Greta's expression still showed panic. He continued, "It only becomes dangerous when someone foolishly drinks too much." The atmosphere suddenly turned icy cold. Greta's father laughed awkwardly. "Ha ha ha. Truly a strange plant. What if it is used for poisoning?" Watching her father fidget like that, Greta softly called him. Hohan propped his chin, explaining the matter being discussed. If brewed as tea, it acts as a sedative, but if used as poison, it paralyzes the tongue and throat, making speech impossible. The drinker also becomes drowsy. He exclaimed, "Oh, your Majesty is truly knowledgeable," Hohan modestly said. "Haha, no. I think not only I understand this poisonous herb. By the way, at this moment, Greta was clutching the dress she was wearing tightly when Hohan lowered his voice seriously and looked at her. "I heard the prisoner in the infirmary has regained consciousness." Greta realized that he knew everything from the beginning. He was warning her not to resist him anymore. Greta's father spoke up. "Actually, I feel somewhat responsible for the mistake. If there is a way for us to make amends, Your Majesty, please say so." Hohan smiled in response. "Then this conversation will be much easier. I want to resolve this matter as soon as possible. Both kings are present here. There's no need for too many complicated procedures, right?" He was delighted, "Sir. Are you saying you want to execute that woman right here?" "No," the Emperor declared sternly. "I want full authority over the life of Riola Bernita. From now on, my empire will handle her. You do not need to concern yourselves with this matter anymore." Greta's father was alarmed. "Sorry, Your Majesty, but what concerns me is Princess Greta. Do you have any objections?" She gritted her teeth to control her emotions. The knots in her heart still could not be untied. Why did he care about her? She should have died long ago, yet she still disgraced the entire kingdom. Not only that, the scene of Fabian kneeling before Princess Greta. "Riola will be fine, right?" Her voice held some reproach. "How many times have I told you, Fabian? She will be fine." Fabian choked up. "I know you arranged everything, but I am still very scared." She placed her hand on his tear-streaked face. "Don't worry, Fabian." But Greta whispered, "I promise I will not kill her." Her thoughts resumed. What is so special about that woman? So frustrating. I'm furious. But now the Emperor has cornered me. Consider it lost. But Greta answered, "No, sir." In her heart, she had already devised a plan. "I swear I will repay this humiliation." The servants finally finished the examination. She had been given poison since being imprisoned. Her life was quite critical. Isn't she a criminal? The antidote can neutralize the toxin. But why is a criminal in the Emperor's area? Aizen said apologetically. "It was my fault. I prevented outsiders from entering, but I didn't expect they would use the imperial physician to poison her." She, Hohan, appeared unbothered. "This poison is very hard to detect. The symptoms are unclear. I suspect they didn't think I could detect it because the poison clearly used clardy. Instead of a deadly toxin to prevent her from laying eggs, before him was Riola breathing steadily on the bed. But using clardy long-term could also kill her. So the real purpose was to kill the witness." Hohan was silent for a moment. He recalled when he met her in autumn at Leather. "If I had been a little late, she wouldn't have survived. Everything around changes over time, but she does not." He thought just like before. She was cornered, looking pitiful, and as before, she looked extremely miserable. His hand slowly moved closer, wanting to touch her face. The silence was so deep you could hear both their heartbeats. "Yes, and mine is beating." He pulled back his hand and ordered, "Take good care of her, servants. I don't care how long it takes." Even the antidote can be harmful if used too quickly. The servants bowed, accepting the order. Yes, I understand, Your Majesty. Aizen pursed his lips. When Hohan began to leave, he spoke up. Your Majesty, please forgive me for being intrusive, but is there something between you and Riola Bernita that I don't know about? Honestly, we have no reason to care for a criminal. Aizen's words made Hohan pause for a moment. He scratched his head, but thanks to the foolishness of the royal family, now we have a legitimate reason to act. But even so, the person who said that is the one who said something even funnier, and he even mocked what you said. I don't care about losing the game, save her at all costs. Hohan objected. I never said that. He countered. That's exactly the point, isn't it? Today, Hohan glanced at Aizen thoughtfully. He's not stupid at all. I never intended to hide it from Aizen forever, but you started whining. Aizen said, more importantly, and the absolute defense from Aizen, don't avoid it. I won't fall for the trap. Hohan played a stronger card. Lately, my head hurts more, and I even heard a voice. He looked confused. He shouted, wait, really? Since when? I already changed the medicine for her, didn't I? I thought it was effective. Is it that the person stopped taking the medicine? Now that I think about it, I haven't seen them take any medicine lately. I'm satisfied with your handling. Excellent. The reaction was exactly as expected. He smiled softly. Let's go. And Aizen followed right after him, continuing to plead, no, Your Majesty, you can't leave like this. Somewhere else. A hand grabbed Riola's hand, followed by words, Riola, let's go. Riola hadn't fully recovered and asked back. Where are we going? She tried to stop him. Don't go. In another scene, the words were even more desperate. Don't go, Fabian. Fabian, with a desperate face, spoke each word carefully. The princess is the most important person to me in this world. You know that, right? Please, don't. Fabian. The next memory flooded in rapidly. Greta slapped her hard, causing her to lose balance. Falling down, Hohan was now in front of her. She tried to hold his hand like clutching the last lifeline. Please don't go. Save me. I did nothing wrong. Please save me. She opened her eyes, panting heavily. The doctor noticed her. Ah, finally you're awake. You must stay calm. There's still poison in your body. Riola screamed. Ah! She flipped the blanket aside and rushed forward. Her mouth still uttered, help! The other person was startled, stammering. What? What is she trying to say? Another man answered. See? I told you to tie her up a bit. I knew she'd panic when she woke up. While the two continued arguing back and forth, Riola had already jumped off the bed. Someone's voice panicked. Wait! Tears streamed down Riola's face. A second later, her whole body collapsed onto the table in the room. One of the guards came over and pulled her up. He asked, stop, what are you trying to do? Hohan came over, curious. What's going on? The people present were a bit startled. Riola, like a lost soul, stared at the table. The guard held up a paper and said, Your Majesty, I think she wrote something. The man muttered, help me, Hohan asked. Why should I do that? His steps gradually approached. I know you're innocent, but that doesn't mean you're completely blameless, whether intentional or unknowingly involved. You're still an accomplice. The man standing beside her emphasized each word. So why should I save you? Riola's hands, supporting herself on the table, trembled in waves. She was restless, pondering. Because I have no other choice. Her voice was somewhat hoarse from crying, as if begging for mercy from the executioner. Alone, I will never have the chance to choose anything again, he gently asked. Then let me change the question. She looked up at him, gasping. Continue. He lowered himself slightly, speaking softly. If I help you, will you run away again? Riola's thoughts continued as his proud gaze stared straight at her. Her reason tried to stop her. No, it can't be. That gaze seemed to blame her for not realizing sooner. Hohan smirked. Looks like you finally recognize me, huh? I think I've helped you quite a few times already. So how do you plan to repay me? All right. I will wait for your answer until you can speak clearly. Yes, after saying that, he ordered the guards. Bill, by any means necessary, help her recover as soon as possible. They all seriously obeyed him. Yes, of course, sir. This is the Emperor's order to take care of Riola. Branitor, do not neglect under any circumstances. A few days later, an unbelievable rumor began spreading in the palace. Two maidservants were chatting excitedly. I heard the Emperor is madly in love. Oh my god, don't joke like that. It's not funny. It's true. What other reason would the Emperor abandon all royal events and stay in the private palace all day? Don't you think so? The Emperor's palace has been chaotic lately. People from the Empire keep coming and going, serving only her, meaning Riola Granitor, the female criminal. Oh my god. Someone overheard, and now they keep talking non-stop, thinking not a moment passes without someone knowing. Nya Bri on the West Wing said 2 days ago someone from the Empire came to the tailor's shop carrying a pile of fine silk in every color. They even ordered several dresses. Oh my god, really? Who else but her would urgently need new clothes? Greta's close maid cautiously asked, Princess, do you want to return to your room to rest? Greta decisively replied, no. She turned her head, staring behind. I must stay to face the one who dared to defile my sacred and precious castle. The pen glided over the paper, writing each word. Aizen spoke. This rumor is spreading fast. People are starting to believe that you are very romantic. Some even think this is a tragedy. Love with a beautiful empress. I think the following hypothesis is more favored. Hohan laughed lightly. So sarcastic. Huh? Aizen furrowed his brows, truly enduring it all. The rising emotions were uncontrollable. Aizen angrily shouted, "Are you laughing? Do you find this very funny? Seeing you like that," Hohan laughed even louder. "But don't you find it funny? I'm actually quite happy. I also prefer the tragic version." You replied irritably, "How can you joke in this situation? I'm just teasing. What's there to be serious about?" Aizen reached out and grabbed Hohan's shoulder. "Is it not real? I think we should talk seriously about this." So Aizen shook Hohan back and forth like a desperate spinning top and asked pitifully, "What happened to Riola Britannia? Is that why you helped her?" He was helpless. Who knows? You shouted, "Ah!" Aizen gritted his teeth and thought, "If you don't answer me then, I will go ask the person involved directly." So I went to see her, but Riola looked at Aizen with sparkling eyes. "I heard the Emperor ascended the throne last winter. Is that true?" You answered too quickly. "Uh-huh." Taking advantage of the momentum, she kept asking about the Emperor, hoping Aizen would explain. "I heard the throne was handed over to him, so what exactly happened then?" Aizen panicked and waved his hand. "Well, outwardly it was like that, but inside you were screaming endlessly, silently blaming her for making you slip up. You politely answered her, 'I can't tell everything. What I want to know is the matter between you and His Majesty.' She didn't let up, continuing to press. I heard His Majesty knew from the start that Riola was the real culprit from the royal family." Aizen's head felt like it was about to explode. "Why do you ask so many questions?" Riola kept asking, "So what will happen between the SL Empire and the Ryota Kingdom? Will there be war?" You hesitated to answer that. "I also heard he was the crown prince from the start. Then why didn't he live in the palace all this time?" "Wait," Aizen grabbed her. "Someone as talkative as you. How could you stay silent all this time?" Realizing he might have crossed the line, Aizen sighed. "I'm sorry, I went too far. I'm so confused I can't hold back. One person is as tough as a fortress, the other is scatterbrained. Just rest in your room," the doctor's voice echoed. "Now try to make some slow sounds. Ah, ah." He announced her voice had almost recovered, and she could walk a little now, though she was still kept here. But she could stroll in the hallway outside the bedroom. The doctor left. "Now rest, okay?" Riola nodded, looking like she wanted to say something, but couldn't say it. She began to ponder. Instead of being locked up in prison or a cell, she was in a normal bedroom in the Emperor's quarters, eating well, dressed nicely, and receiving proper treatment. Seeing everyone's eyes as they came and went was enough to understand the situation without stepping outside. She found this matter confusing. They couldn't understand why she was here or what was going on. What was he thinking? No, what was the Emperor thinking? She put her feet down from the bed with the purpose of just wanting to ask where he was now. The hallway outside the room was quiet with no passers-by, so Riola's footsteps echoed clearly. Riola stopped and whispered, "Oh." Though the sound was small, it caught Hohan's attention. He glanced at her. She was embarrassed, thinking about what to do now. Should she greet first? Or, while she was thinking, Hohan's eyes shifted to the book in her hands. She bowed to him, her mind tangled, thinking she hesitated too long. Too many questions made her not know where to start, or should she just pretend not to see and leave? Hohan's voice brought her back to reality. "Why don't you come sit here?" She looked at him surprised. Riola stood there. Now every second felt like a century. She was shy and didn't know what to say. Riola walked over and pulled a chair. He said casually, "I heard you've regained your voice." This surprised Riola again, her eyes wide open, as if she didn't understand. He lowered his voice. "I mean, sit closer to me." Her hands trembled nonstop. She didn't dare take her eyes off him. "I came because you called, and I'm sitting close as you said. Now what should I do?" Hohan was unusually calm, wondering, "Don't you have anything to say to me?" She suddenly realized, "Ah, you're waiting for me to speak, aren't you?" Riola answered anxiously, "What do you want, sir?" A somewhat displeased expression. She slightly lowered her face and tried to speak clearly. "If you want anything, I will try to fulfill it. You said you would wait for my answer, but I really don't know how to repay. Sorry, I think I have helped you quite a few times already. How do you intend to repay? I even forgot I said that myself, yet you keep obsessing over it in your heart." Riola spoke up. "Truly sorry, sir. You hold the whole world in your hands. There is nothing lacking." She suggested, "How about I testify?" He looked up and asked again about testifying. Riola slowly asked, "That's why you brought me here, right? So I can prove whether the mercenaries hired to assassinate you were commissioned by the royal family, to help you have evidence to accuse them." Her words pierced through the pages he was reading. The book was forcefully pushed away by his hand. He seemed like he wanted to crush it completely. He pondered deeply, questioning himself. "She's not wrong, clearly. I brought you here partly for political reasons." The more she spoke, the more His eyes were cold, as if trying to pierce through the opponent. His voice deep and loud. "Are you used to being exploited already? But I don't necessarily need your testimony." He slightly frowned, a dull irritation rising, feeling suffocated like this. Riola replied with a trembling but somewhat determined voice, "I just want to help you somehow." He spoke coldly to the point the atmosphere thickened. She thought I took her in just to exploit her, her inner self questioned, not even worthy to be exploited for political purposes anymore. Once again, she dared not raise her face, feeling suffocated, chest tightening as if the whole world was pressing down on her slender shoulders. Yet the nightmare still haunted her. Refusing to let go, Riola hung her head, her red hair covering eyes blurred with tears. "Sorry." Her voice trembled like a thread about to break. bitter thoughts swirling deep inside. Even if I kneel and beg this man, nothing will change. Hohan fell silent, looking at her. Riola slightly bowed her head, voice soft. I don't know your background. I have troubled you. I shouldn't have opened my mouth to offer help. In Hohan's mind, that sound kept echoing relentlessly. Enough already. His blue eyes flashed a trace of anger. I'm very sorry. Her voice rang out again. Enough already. The silent scream inside him seemed to want to tear apart the distance between them. Today, Hohan stood up abruptly. He walked away without looking back even once. His voice from Hohan's mind continued. You accept being looked down upon, you endure humiliation. What happened to you that now Riola is still tormenting herself? She softly cried out, sorry. Hohan's thoughts continued, making her end up like this. The sound of the door closing. Ashen said, I have safely taken Riola Britannia back to her room. You approached where Hohan sat. But are you okay, Your Majesty? And strangely, Hohan cared about something else. Ashen grabbed your hand. You responded irritably. No need to thank me. He pulled your hand to examine it. How dare you disobey my order? You don't know where you got the courage to blurt that out. A thought in his head was angry, huh? Because you got involved in trouble behind my back. I didn't expect you to bring a girl to bed. I know what's going on between you two, but where do you find the time? Impressive. Ha ha ha, Hohan teased. You complain about me even in your mind? You placed your hand on his shoulder, pretending to reassure. I've always been consistent. Isn't that enough? Then Eisen crossed his arms and showed a judgmental expression. Why don't you read Riola Britannia's mind sooner instead of all this? Earlier, instead of these things with me, he was helpless. I can't read her thoughts. On one side, Hohan was confused. On the other side, Eisen kept talking nonstop. That's why you act so cold to her. Your ability isn't effective. With everyone, Your Majesty, he realized. That's right, I was born with a special ability, but it's not always effective with everyone, he thought silently. Even though I know that. Why do I still feel uncomfortable because I can't read her thoughts? Riola tossed and turned in bed, unable to fall asleep. She thought silently when she thought about it. I shouldn't be too surprised about this issue. Even Fabian and others who once valued me left me so easily. So this man is no different from them. Hohan's words imprinted in Riola's memory, she thought. I helped her just so she could repay me, right? She closed her eyes tightly, asking herself what she was hoping for. The cruel emperor of the Elstuvasic Empire would never have mercy on a mere criminal. But why? Why does he keep me here? She held the lamp in her hand, walking along the corridor, trying to calm herself despite being refused help by His Majesty. But she couldn't change the fact that he would be generous to a prisoner, so she had to be truly useful to him. She was stopped by a guard who stood in her way, threatening, This is the Emperor's private area. Riola awkwardly said, I have something to say to His Majesty. Suddenly, someone's hand waved, signaling her to open her eyes wide and look. Aizen pushed the two guards aside and said, Go ahead. The kid pointed the way inside. Go in. He's probably in the study room. Riola shyly apologized. One of the two guards questioned, But Captain, why? Riola bowed her head and said, Thank you. Meanwhile, Aizen put his hand on the other's shoulder and whispered, You wouldn't understand unless you saw what I saw yesterday. She quickly reached the study room. Riola stood outside and called out, Your Majesty, I want to talk to you about something. The only response was an eerie silence. She kept waiting for a reply, her mood sinking. Of course, he wouldn't want to see her. She noticed something and cautiously entered, saying, Your Majesty, Hohan is unconscious in front of me. Riola was shocked. His Majesty's face was pale, sweating heavily, and his breathing became labored. She rushed to him. Your Majesty, are you all right? Riola urgently shouted. Is anyone there? Help! The Emperor has fainted. Is anyone out there, please? A brief thought crossed her mind. The study room was too far. They wouldn't hear her calls. Her voice still hadn't fully recovered. She couldn't afford to lose herself, so she decided to leave and find help. Hohan gasped weakly. She anxiously asked, Your Majesty, are you awake? He replied, She panicked but helped him stay calm. Don't worry. I'll find help immediately. Hohan's condition seemed to worsen. She looked at him silently for a moment. Perhaps because she understood the feeling of being sick and alone, she wished he wouldn't have to endure pain like she was. She didn't want to see him suffer. Thinking about it, she couldn't leave him alone here. Riola held Hohan's hand. She tried to warm his already cold hands with her own warmth. Riola spoke, Your Majesty, I'm right here. Can you hear me? Yes, she continued. I will get whatever you need. I will find someone to help you. So please, don't worry, okay? His eyes opened slightly. Riola anxiously asked, Can you hear me? He said no. He tightly grasped Riola's hand and with the other hand lifted her face. Riola Benito, he said. She answered, Yes. Both leaned on each other. I'm right here. Suddenly, hurried footsteps approached from the corridor and the door flew open. The guards shouted, What was that noise? Your Majesty, are you all right? Someone called out from outside. Someone called the medics immediately. Another tried to push her away. Riola branded her. Get away from His Majesty right now. This is madness. But her hand remained tightly intertwined with his. The man used force to separate their hands, shouting, Let go! Probably using too much force, Riola cried out. He stared at the scene. Yes, Eisen helped him up, his headache still lingering. Riola, Eisen instinctively said, Yes, Your Majesty. I will take Riola Granitor away immediately. But his response was contrary to what they expected. The guard pulling her froze for a few seconds. Take your hands off Riola Granitor and all of you get out of here. The medics report he's having a seizure. She knew he needed to take better care of himself. Aizen admitted fault. This is my fault. I should have watched him more closely. Riola wondered about epilepsy and, with her vivid imagination, she had interpreted what Hohan might say to her. She knows my secret. What does she plan to do? Is that what he wanted to tell me? The medics advised, rest is important, of course, but His Majesty should also take medication. The royal family is fine. I'm fine. No need to worry about that, he said. But Aizen immediately contradicted him. No, the medics are right. Your Majesty, this is the first time you've recovered so quickly, isn't it? It's been 6 months since you fainted like this, so you might be experiencing side effects. Hohan held his head, deep in thought. It's no surprise I lost control of my power, all the hallucinations and voices. The things I've seen and never seen before this is the price of reading others' minds. Why must I endure its power, when it's both a gift from the divine and a curse? Aizen held his head in frustration. Riola Braineater, you didn't take the chance earlier to touch His Majesty. That's right, like a catchphrase, Riola replied apologetically. In her mind, she had raised an unresolved issue about the side effects. And unable to control his power, he caused this. Was it because I touched the Emperor? She answered Aizen's question. I thought it wouldn't be right to leave His Majesty alone, so I held his hand. Aizen looked at her, unable to believe what he had just heard. You held his hand? He clenched his teeth, his face turning red with anger. Aizen grabbed Riola. Why did you do such a thing? Riola didn't know what to do, and just stood there helplessly. Hohan spoke up. Aizen, stop it now, he replied. But we can't just ignore this issue, Your Majesty. We have to find out the exact cause of the seizure. He blurted out. You're blaming the wrong person. Calm down. I was the first to die. Aizen now regained composure, scratching his head awkwardly and said, I'm sorry for overreacting earlier. She shook her head. No, it's okay. I'm fine. Though she looked fine on the outside, inside she was blaming herself. Was it because of me that the Emperor's condition worsened? No. Why did he have seizures? And maybe he was cursed. He reminded her anyway. She was not allowed to tell anyone what she had seen today. I know I have no right to get involved in this. But her thoughts were interrupted again by his voice. Do you understand, Riola? She was distracted by the thought. But why can't I stop thinking about it? He continued. Riola Branitor, you came here for a reason. But unfortunately, we won't talk about that now. She now clearly knew what she wanted. I want to be more useful to him. I hesitated to leave because I wanted to soothe his mysterious pain. All the servants, Riola and Aizen, bowed their heads simultaneously. He spoke up. Then please rest, Your Majesty. He lay there silently, and when they left, he drifted into his own thoughts. Riola's tone healed his wounds. Your Majesty, I'm right here. Are you listening to me? Her voice was like light breaking through all the darkness. Are you listening to me? It was warm and clear, enough to make the pain vanish immediately. An angel. In that brief moment, those were my thoughts about her. I believe she will be the one to save me. Ha ha ha, mocking an angel. I must be crazy to want such a fairy tale. He pondered. Even if I bury myself in medicine, the curse has never made me feel so calm. I can't believe just a few words could make the pain disappear immediately. Riola Branitor, what are you? A hurried voice called out. Quickly prepare your clothes. Hurry up. She groggily woke up. What is that noise? Maid? The maid yanked off the blanket she was wrapped in. Hurry up and wake up. Please move quickly. There's no time to hesitate like this. Riola still didn't understand what was happening. What's going on? Riola said. I think there must be some misunderstanding here. The maid sternly ordered her to stand up straight. She gasped softly. The formal announcement. The Emperor has arrived. He walked toward her. She understood silently. So that's why she hurriedly dressed me like that. Riola stammered, bowing respectfully. Your Majesty. Hohan got straight to the point. You can ask me anything you want to know. Riola was shocked. Anything I want to know? He was eagerly waiting for her question. She shyly asked, Are you feeling better? He glanced at Riola. She panicked, thinking she shouldn't have asked that. That was inappropriate for a prisoner like her. When the Emperor was, he was angry because she didn't say Your Majesty earlier. He replied, As you see, I am feeling better. She was delighted. It seemed she hadn't upset him. He really did look much healthier. He asked if there was anything else. Riola replied, Sorry? He stepped closer to her. No more questions? I'm sure you have many questions. She looked him in the eye. He said, We can talk later, Riola Britannia. You came here for a reason, but unfortunately, we'll discuss that later. He didn't say a word more. He really kept his promise. She clasped her hands together. There's one thing I want to ask. He said, Feel free, go ahead. Riola hesitated and asked, Did I cause you trouble yesterday? He asked back, What? She continued, What Captain Aizen said yesterday has been bothering me. Maybe everything went wrong. Because I dared to lay my hand on you. I was very worried. Her words surprised her hand. Her hand changed the subject. Riola branded her. Quickly, show me your hand. He pulled her closer. Look at me in such a bad state. It made you worried? Riola blushed. No, she panicked. No, that's not what I meant. I know I have no right. I'm sorry. I helplessly hold my head. No, I didn't mean that she is not allowed. Ha ha ha. Put your hand on my chest. I told you I'm fine. What I mean is that there is nothing you need to worry about. Riola thought this was not what she expected. His words echoed instead. I should say you helped me, she whispered. I understand now. Her heart quietly rejoiced. Thank God. I guess I was too worried about the Emperor than I thought. Now Hohan finally spoke. I want to ask you always. Why did you hold my hand? He walked away, leaving a sentence. I am an emperor. You don't need to comfort me. Riola was silent, then hesitated and said, I don't know why anymore. I'm sorry. Hohan clicked his tongue. He didn't stop. She just finished a few sentences with some apologies. Why, from now on I don't allow you to say sorry. Riola, like a startled golden deer, Tao Hohan glanced over and gently asked one last time. When was the last time you saw the sun? She followed habit. I don't know anymore. I apologize. Before the words were finished, she blocked herself and blurted out. He left, leaving her alone. She watched his back. A second later, she sat down. I was so tense that my body went limp. I think we talked a lot, but I don't remember anything. He disciplined me because I kept saying sorry. The knocking on the door and the maid's voice sounded, Excuse me, Miss Riola Britannia. His Majesty requested you to prepare to go outside. The voice of Greta's father echoed throughout the castle hallway. Greta, what are you going to do? This is the third time we have been rejected by the Emperor. We even sent messengers. Instead of sending messages and still being rejected, Greta angrily retorted. How do you know? Go ask the Emperor yourself if you want to know. She nervously bit her nails and thought silently. I'm about to lose my mind. He refused to meet us 3 days ago, so when will he agree? He is blatantly exploiting us while living in our kingdom. Since the incident at the banquet, I can't make the Emperor angry again. Suddenly Greta looked up and silently remembered Riola. I can't believe that woman is holding my life in her hands, her father advised. We can't, but I'm worried too, Greta. I think we should sincerely apologize to him and offer compensation before the Emperor. It would be terrible. She covered her mouth. Compensation? What can we compensate for? For attempting to assassinate the Emperor? Why don't you suggest our kingdom instead? He explained. But he is not yet the official Emperor, so maybe he will be more lenient. Ruta angrily denied. Don't you know the heir prince who fled is still a member of the royal family? And he is still the Emperor, so you want to believe he will forgive us? He lost patience. Do you have any suggestions? It's all your fault for hiring that despicable mercenary from the start. She was stunned, not expecting her father to shout like that. Greta's father got angrier. I told you, he can't be trusted. I told you that we should hire a better mercenary. The more he scolded. Greta's face darkened. His voice still echoed, but she refused to listen. You still insist on that despicable mercenary, she interrupted her father. Don't talk about him like that. But he kept talking more. My point is everyone is born with their own life. They live, you know well. When you pursued that despicable man and started planning to escape, now Greta tightened her skirt. I warn you, you are not allowed to say that about Fabian. You have no right to say that. Don't forget that I and Fabian saved you. When you were ordered to eliminate Prince Hohan, he stammered. That whole plan of ours was exposed. If I were afraid, I wouldn't go out from the black market side. Wasn't the whole plan a failure because we couldn't find the prince's weakness, Hohan? That happened a long time ago, and even now, she stepped back. It must be said, even now. I told you many times Fabian is hiding and living in the shadows because of us. But he should be living in the light. He is unlike anyone else. Even if I have to kneel and beg for mercy from the Emperor, I will still protect our royal family, so don't insult him. As usual, he still hides in his room, trembling in fear. Father. Greta's father's face looked terrible. It seemed because he was too scared. Greta turned and walked away, leaving her father standing still. While Fabian and the child were still trying to save everything early in the morning, sunlight shone everywhere in the beautiful garden with green tree shadows. Riola was being escorted by the royal guards. He pushed Her Majesty right in front of the garden yard in this direction. Hurry up. Then he left, leaving her standing bewildered. She looked up to welcome the sunlight. Ah, this is the first time I've seen the sun again. Since that day, Riola stared intently at the sun high above. Even though since she came here, autumn had been a season of pain, darkness, and fear for her. Someone called her name, Riola Branitor. She turned her head in that direction and saw Hohan standing, intently admiring the garden, but she guessed autumn looked like this inside the castle. He spoke softly. This way. She opened her big sparkling eyes to look at him. Hohan in front of her was truly handsome and elegant. Riola slowly stepped forward, standing next to him, then silently thought about what she should think. When this man stood beside her, like the one who had imprisoned her as a hostage of the Emperor of El Suva, the two men she spent a night with at the leader's place. He held out his hand in front of her and suggested, please take a walk with me. Riola looked up at him, or maybe the man who always shone was even more beautiful than an autumn flower. She raised her hand, still chained, to touch his hand. How could she define the complexity of their relationship? Hoha noticed her difference. What's wrong? The subordinate quickly explained. We have to chain the prisoner to ensure safety, Your Majesty. She is a criminal, and when we go outside, we must be sure. He cut in. You want to ensure my safety? The subordinate saluted seriously. Of course, Your Majesty. Ha ha ha, rubbing his head. Look at me. Do I look like an emperor? So weak to be controlled by a woman who doesn't even have a weapon. The subordinate asked again. Excuse me. He frowned and ordered, remove her chains immediately. Do I have to explain more? He panicked. My fault. Then the subordinate quickly approached and unlocked her handcuffs. He rubbed his forehead. I should have informed them earlier. I was careless. Riola rubbed her wrist. It's okay, Your Majesty. Allow me to go out like this. She thought silently. That's what I'm thinking. Have I thanked him yet? The sunlight shone down, highlighting Hohan's handsome face. She thought because he saved her from drowning in the river at Leader, saved her from the death sentence, and gave her a chance to explain, because he removed her chains and let her just admire the autumn flower while walking. She softly exclaimed, "Thank you," making him look a little dazed. Riola continued to thank him. It's the first thing I do instead of asking what you want in return. I should thank you first. She bowed her head shyly and silently, thought she didn't look him straight in the eyes that day. She continued, I didn't realize the world still had such a beautiful place like this, so I failed to thank you for giving me a new chance in this life. Yes, 2 pure white birds still perched on the lake. Riola shyly thanked him for saving her, for letting her live on, and yes, that's better. After she finished speaking, he suddenly said, I prefer it this way rather than you constantly apologizing for nothing. Why don't you look at me? I'm tired of always looking at the top of your head. She looked up. Ah, of course, thank you. Your Majesty, Hohan suddenly smiled brightly like 1,000 flowers blooming simultaneously. But it doesn't mean you have to keep thanking me for nothing. Riola looked up at him, blushed, then smiled. All right, Your Majesty, he asked her. So how do you want me to negotiate with you? What do you intend to do with me? Everything you want, Riola replied. I don't really know what I want yet, Hohan asked sharply. Honestly, even if you do, you don't know which to choose, right? Isn't that a lie? If I don't have the right to choose, then why do you ask me what I want? He didn't answer her, but shifted to another sentence. A question. Be ready because I want to know what you're thinking. I'm not the type to ask many questions, but I'm proud and will do what I want. He thought silently. I still don't hear anything. Hohan held Riola's hand and looked at her affectionately. But when with her, I can't stop asking questions. He's mysterious. In my heart, I'm very curious, wanting to know what she's thinking behind those red eyes. The red marks on her always bother me, and I want to know what she's hiding, whether it's poison or something else. Hohan's deep voice echoed. I'm very curious about you, Riola Granitor. I have to learn more about her. Riola's face turned red like a ripe tomato, her lips trembling as if she wanted to say something. A familiar voice called out, Ah, Your Highness. She froze, and Greta was slowly approaching. That Thou Mai is really coincidental. I didn't expect to meet you here. I didn't know you were taking a walk in the garden. I have a messenger to deliver a message. I wish to see you, Your Highness, but I still haven't received a reply. Someone said you had fallen ill and couldn't get out of bed, so I was very worried, fearing that your illness would worsen. They grasped Riola's hand tightly. He responded calmly, Princess. Greta babbled nonstop. Yes, Your Highness, it's been a while. Although living in the same castle, I'm afraid we haven't met much lately. He showed impatience. Surely the matter you need to discuss with me is urgent. That's why you trampled those flowers to come here. Greta clearly understood the implication in Hohan's words, but tried to avoid it. Haha, I am willing to go through any hardship to meet you, Your Highness. In her mind, she silently calculated. Everything has failed. There is no other way but to force myself to meet you. To finish this matter, he turned away to talk to her. Princess, I will immediately send the palace steward to the main hall to arrange the meeting. Greta cut him off. That's great, Riola. She is here too. Riola was a bit scared and avoided her. Her voice, full of green tea scent, rang out again. Don't you notice my presence anymore, or am I just a meddler intruding on your private time? Greta stared at the couple standing opposite. Could it be that the rumors in the palace are not entirely false? Hohan asked the princess. It seems you have no urgent matter to discuss with me, so why not? She pointed at Riola. No, I came here to see Riola Benito, Your Majesty. He stopped her. What do you want to do? Don't you also have many things to say to me? Her hand trembled as she placed it on her chest. Many things to say to you, Riola. Trembling? Or do you mean I have many grievances against you? Did she realize what she had to? Hohan's hand tightly gripped hers. Riola's red eyes welled up but froze at his action. He glanced at her with sympathy. Hohan comforted her. It's okay. Riola looked up at him like a little rabbit. Your Highness is even angrier than me, but that big warm hand brought comfort. I'm glad our hands are intertwined. Without it, I might have fainted from difficulty breathing. Her perfume makes it hard for me to breathe. Riola swallowed, trying to keep her voice calm. Yes, I also have something I want to say to you for a long time, Princess. She smiled, listening to Riola continue. I will come to see you, so I don't know the best place and time for you. In the magnificent garden full of flowers and greenery, a voice full of sarcasm said, You should be grateful that you are still alive until now. Emma was surprised, unable to believe she said that to someone. Do you think she is shameless? Is she trying to raise her status by approaching Your Highness? Greta despised her. Let her be like that. She's just a poor girl. Soon she will have to kneel at my feet, see? Riola was escorted by 2 guards opposite her. Greta scrutinized her. She looks like she's about to faint, right? Look at those fresh roses and be amazed. Vivienne Roses, you pushed me onto this path of hell, and now you try to drag me down to the same hell as before. The whispers of the servants echoed in Riola's ears. What is she wearing? Does she think this is just a social visit or what? Isn't she the woman under investigation for being a suspect? Why does the Emperor seem to like her? But this doesn't make sense. She was dragged here by the princess to meet the princess. Then shouldn't she be punished? Greta looked up, cutting off the servant's gossip. Enough, don't be rude, Emma. Can you make some tea for Riola? She was startled. Yes, princess, but… Without letting Emma question, she ordered, and I want everyone to leave for a while. I have something to discuss privately with Riola. Also, knights, you don't want to eavesdrop on a matter between two women, right? The hot tea was served. It's been 6 months since that day, right? I have met you a few times in the palace, but never had the chance to talk. Riola replied softly. Yes, that's right. And she continued gently. Riola, I'm sure she has a lot to say to me, but I'm very sorry. She was extremely tense, tears streaming down Greta's cheeks. Truly, I felt full of guilt. I hated myself, and I'm sure she did too. She must be angry at me, right? Riola felt an indescribable frustration. She clenched her fists tightly. I had sworn many times when I came here that I wouldn't be shaken. Even when she cornered me, I was in pain. I'm sorry. I know I'm a prisoner. I shouldn't have said those words. Riola thought about the past when Eisen informed her, Don't worry, Riola Branider, we know you're innocent. She was stunned. What? You're pensive. But I'm not sure if you should face the princess. We're almost at victory. The servants also advised, that's right, keep her safe while this matter is resolved. Perhaps that's the best choice, ma'am, Han reassured. It's okay, you may go. Eisen and the servants wondered, but your highness, this might be a stepping stone for them to counterattack, he affirmed. I can stop them. The two of them continued, asking what might happen to Bernita. Hohan replied, we can protect her. As soon as he finished, Aspen and the servants were stunned. Riola stood awkwardly blushing. He turned to her. You want to go to your mother, right? She said she had something to say to her. Then we also prepared official complaints at the international level against the Riola royal family. Miss Britannia will be invited to the trial as a witness for us. She stared blankly as he arranged the work. We have prepared thoroughly so we can fully prove your innocence. Azon continued, but only those here know about that, and I can't let the royal family know either. Huh. Don't cry, she sobbed. Thank you, sir, he comforted. So if you have something to clarify with the princess, don't worry, just go. She was moved to know someone was on her side. I had regained the courage to come here, but now she does this. What should I do? The only thing left in me is hatred, but now it's meaningless. Riola kept a calm face, listening to Greta's growing despair. I have no choice, Riola thought, feeling empty, her voice like a demon wrapping around her. I truly deserve punishment. But what about Fabian? She bit her lip. Can't believe she dragged Fabian into this. Every word was like waves surging inside her, slowly swallowing her. Fabian was also very worried about her. She knew what kind of person he was, how much Fabian cared about her. Greta covered her face. I know I shouldn't have done that to you, Riola interrupted. I'm sorry, but please don't mention Fabian in front of me. She was a bit stunned. Really? You seem to have grown a lot, Riola. Greta glanced at her. She was trying to act indifferent, but wondered how long she could keep it, she pleaded. If the royal family falls, Fabian will be dragged down too, we thought. You love him, right? Then Riola spoke. Do you accept Fabian's death? Riola's face was sad. This question helped her consciousness, which had been deeply submerged, to rise. I realized that now he is stepping out of my life, their hands no longer holding each other. But actually, I'm the one being discarded from his life. Looking at Greta crying with tears streaming, she gently stroked her hair. I don't care, so please stop, your highness. She was begging for his life, but now he was like a stranger to her. Greta's expression turned cold. She stopped crying. If Fabian dies, you won't care either, right? A slender hand placed on the table. Today, Hohan suddenly appeared behind Riola. She said she didn't care. She covered her mouth, couldn't believe her eyes. He really followed her here. Why did you come here, your highness? He smiled. The conversation seems to have lasted too long. And I realized I should bring something. Now Greta looked stunned watching him. Heron held out a handkerchief. Riola pressed her lips. Her red eyes looked at him confused. She began to switch to a flattering mode, turning her face aside, silently calculating. This is exactly what I expected. No matter how much he is infatuated with this criminal, clearly a princess is always his priority. She squeezed out a few more tears, then covered her mouth. I'm fine. Please don't misunderstand. We're just talking. I apologized to Miss Riola because I thought she still held a grudge against me over some personal matters. But she didn't accept my apology. It's all my fault. I made a mistake just because of me. Riola was startled, her eyes wide open. I didn't do anything to make her cry. What should I do now? At this rate, I'll be accused of making the princess cry. She was tense, clenching her hands into fists. Riola was filled with fear. What if they interrogate me about this? Would they believe me when I say I didn't do anything? And that she cried on her own? The hand holding the cloth moved it slightly. Hohan brought the cloth in front of her. She reassured herself that she did nothing. He glanced sharply at her. Apologies and mistakes, but it seemed only she spoke. Greta was a bit confused and tried to adjust her emotions. Now that day, she sided with that woman? She frowned in annoyance. Riola took the cloth that Hohan handed her. He advised, if she needed anything else, just tell me, Riola. If you want me to side with you, I will treat you like a timid little rabbit. Yeah, I'm fine, I think. I probably don't need to hear anything from the princess anymore. He wondered, what about the matter you wanted to discuss with her? You must have a purpose coming here. Riola turned to face Greta. I will accept your apology, but what you said afterward, I will pretend I didn't hear it. As I said before, that matter doesn't concern me. She was bitter. Riola, she continued, and I also want to apologize to you, princess. Greta's face froze. Riola's sparkling eyes looked straight at her. Earlier you said you wanted to compensate both me and Fabian. I came here to say I cannot accept compensation from you, so I ask to leave. Forgive me, your highness. Greta clenched her trembling hands. Riola's voice was sweet. Thank you for bringing me back, your majesty. By the way, don't you intend to ask me anything? He glanced at her. She continued to explain, maybe I disrupted the Empire's plan. Your highness, don't you intend to punish me? Ha ha ha. Silence. Then he gently reassured. She's fine now. You should rest. Riola was confused. Was he angry? I should have seized the chance to explain everything clearly. She walked slowly. Finally, Riola stopped in front of the mirror and faced herself. She pressed her lips, thinking silently, so this is how I look now. He knows I'm tormented, so he deliberately left me here. Riola sat down on the bed. She leaned back and lay on the soft bed, her eyes red and teary. So Fabian will die. I can't believe she mentioned Fabian. Why now? What does she want? I can't do anything to save the royal family from collapse. If I had the ability, why should I? What did Fabian do when I was about to die? She covered her crying eyes. He's still hiding somewhere, so how can he ask me to save him? He used me to get into this situation. How could he? A soft sob full of anguish suddenly echoed. The pain of loneliness in prison suddenly overwhelmed me. How could he be such a coward? But I held back my tears, so as not to affect anyone. I was engulfed by resentment and guilt painfully. Why is he still like this at this point? Light shone through the window, blinding Riola. She raised her hand to the window. Riola sat up and grabbed a chair. She pulled the chair out onto the balcony. They had removed the wooden planks from the window panes. Tears welled up inside her like blooming flowers. The warm sunlight touched my cheek. This comfort was even warmer than the sun. She covered her face and cried. My heart was also warmed. Riola touched her arm. Outside, heavy raindrops fell continuously. The sound of rain echoed. Riola was dazed. What's that sound? She suddenly sat up. Huh? When did I fall asleep? Riola was worried. It can't be that the day isn't over yet, right? I should thank the Emperor before tomorrow. The two guards seemed quite surprised. One recognized her and turned to the room. Your Highness, Miss Riola Bernita has arrived. His voice rang out. Go in. Someone informed her that your Highness was inside. Please go in. She replied, okay, thank you. Just as she stepped inside, Riola blushed. The servant stood surrounding him, attending to him, dressed. His sharp face was very cold at this moment. Hohan asked if there was an urgent matter. She gently replied no. Your Highness requested that we talk later. Riola thought to herself, surely he is busy. Of course, my gratitude isn't that important anyway. She answers him, yes sir. He turns to ask her, or shall we have dinner? The servants are startled, but what about the planned schedule? Ha ha ha, Hohan. He instructs her to make a trip to the main hall and return immediately, so she should go. He is with me. Then Riola looks confused. What? He bows his head low and whispers in her ear. By then, you can say whatever you want. You should take a nap before that. She looks very tired, and Riola's ears turn red. She quickly raises her hand to rub her ears. Yes, sir. Her hand goes ahead. Eisen follows behind, wondering if the Lord really needs to read the princess's memories. Your Majesty, as I said earlier, we are about to complete the investigation and mind-reading process. Someone cannot be used as evidence, so he cuts off the boy's words just because. Are you panicking? That's not the reason, he says coldly, even though I know I'm about to die. I also can't ask her. Looking at her, she could burst into tears any time. Eisen wonders, is she Riola Granito? The boy quickens his pace to catch up with Hohan. Wait, Your Majesty, have you really developed feelings for her? Like the rumors? The rumors about pure love and the beauty strategy? Hohan stops walking, covering his mouth hurriedly. Have I gone too far? He smiles. Perhaps it's true. Eisen explains, I forgot my position, and suddenly he is startled. His voice becomes urgent. Is it really true, you admit it? Since I couldn't read her thoughts. I wanted to know more about her. He realizes, oh my, you scared me. That's because your power doesn't work on her. The sound of high heels clicking on the floor. Someone asks Hohan what's going on. Greta appears before the two of them. I was surprised that you visit my humble lecture hall twice a day, Your Majesty. And it's raining too. Hohan's blue eyes scrutinize her politely. He extends his hand. Don't act like that. Let's greet each other sincerely. She hesitates slightly. Greta thinks, he came but doesn't even bother to look at me. Now what plan is he thinking of? Her fingertips touch Hohan's hand. Do you think I'm planning something? Hohan brings her hand close to his lips, then kisses the back of her hand, eyes probing. I will expose the whole truth. Greta still wonders. So what is the purpose of your visit, Your Majesty? He doesn't answer but snaps his fingers. Greta looks worried, glancing at the sparkling jewelry presented before her. Is this a gift? Greta is surprised. Why are you giving me these things? Huh? Hohan smiles. This is my way of apologizing to you. She looks at him warily. An apology? She thinks to herself, you should have asked me to give up the kingdom and apologize. Now he apologizes to me with gifts? Hohan explains. Because it looks like someone is about to cry because of me, right? Greta interrupts. Sorry, sir. He smiles brightly but without any joy. I plan to give this to the royal family of Riola, so I hope you won't feel burdened by it. Greta thinks Riola is someone close to him. She must be very important to him, so he personally came and handled this situation. She personally came and handled the situation herself, smoothing her hair. Your Majesty, she thought silently. But I'm not a fool to accept these gifts so easily. He pushed the gifts closer to Greta. Aren't you in quite a complicated situation?